UndergroundVideoNetwork.com presents the We Talk Too Much podcast.
This is where the fun begins.
Comic books, superheroes, sci-fi, gaming, and everything nerdy.
That's it. This is just too weird.
Now, here's your host of the We Talk Too Much podcast, Mike and Richard.
Hey everyone, we're back. And welcome to this episode of Underground Video Network Behind the Blind. Yeah, sorry about last week, everybody. We had a little bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah, there was. Yeah. Oh well, and introduce who we are.
Oh hi, hey everyone. I'm Mike Boroff, and this is
Richard Catterjohn.
So. Yeah, you know what I thought, Richard, because I'm so indoctrinated by WandaVision, was after we had the technical difficulties, I wish we would have had a way to post up on the screen the "Please stand by" that was at the end of like every episode of WandaVision. But it seemed funny because like last week we were still on hiatus from WandaVision, and I mean, we had a couple shows to talk about, but, you know, before the show started, me and Richard was like, man, are we going to be able to pull an hour out of this one? And a week later, and I'm thinking, is an hour going to be enough? Because, like, everything, you know, everything hit. So before we start anything, we should just, you know, spoiler alerts. We're going to be talking about everything from a week ago to this week to just last night and the day before. So
and shout out to everybody that's watching.
Yeah, hi everybody. We gotta go back to where we got cut off last week, man. We were talking about Superman and Lois. We never really got to finish.
Yeah, and after this week then too.
Oh man. So not this last week, but the week before, we started talking about it, but man, we forgot to really mention one of the great scenes in that was when Lois was at the hotel talking to her like informant, and like the metahuman guy showed up. That fight in that small little dinky hotel room with Superman and that dude, that was one of the best Superman fights I have ever seen. He completely was using the skill set. Because, I mean, how often, you know, like in the movie, you know, he has all these abilities, but they always rely on, you know, like, oh, me smash, me punch, you know. But, like, he was getting his ass handed to him. He took a second. He hit him with that freeze breath.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, that was so good. But even then, when the metahuman, like, knocked him on his ass, when he did that hover, you know, he didn't just stand back up. He did that.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really neat the way they did it, too, because it wasn't like front and center. Like they showed him behind the guy. You know what I mean? It wasn't the focus of it. That was awesome. And
yeah, I just wonder what that was all about, really, you know.
Well, I think we found out more this last week's episode, Richard.
Right.
And I'm kind of mixed about it. I still think it's a great show, but it was a great character episode. We got to see Lois and Lana have some genuinely good bonding time. You know, because we know as the audience, you know, there's probably a little awkwardness because Lana knew Clark growing up, and they were a couple, and now here they are. You know, the wife. You know, it's like every dude's worst nightmare: the wife and the ex-girlfriend. You know, and it's just like, oh God, no. You know, I love their interaction with each other. I genuinely don't see any kind of like jealousy or resentment between the two of them. I really believe that Lana genuinely admires Lois, and it was such a great line that she gave when they were pounding them back at that bar, where, you know, she's like, I've known Clark, you know, my entire life, and when he came back to town, he's more confident. He's just like a better person. And we all were kind of like, you know, like, oh, choose your next words carefully, Lana, you know. But she's like, it's because of you, to Lois. And I was just like, that was genuinely a really nice moment.
Okay. I'm sorry, something didn't update right on the other side. I was getting nervous.
Yeah, especially after last week.
Yeah, that's why I kept looking. I'm sorry. But yeah, it was different this week, you know. Like you said, sounds like they're bonding more together, you know, and the show's going in that direction, though, that we were joking about. We don't really want the show to go.
And they even did it almost the exact same way that we were afraid they were going to do, but just like with a little tweak, you know. When we found out at the end of the episode that the reason why Morgan Edge is so interested in that in Smallville was the large deposits of. Give me a second. It pains me to even say it, but K kryptonite, which is a legit thing. I think it was first introduced back in the Supergirl comic books, where what was it? K kryptonite temporarily gives normal people like Superman's power or Kryptonian powers.
Right.
So we're not exactly getting the different kind of freak of the week that we got from Smallville, you know, where, oh, this guy becomes two people and, oh, this guy becomes a bug monster, you know, but still the parallels between Smallville and Meteor Rocks. It's there, man. They can't put that cat back in the hat.
Yeah, I know.
And the other thing that we really learned, I think you'll agree with me, Richard. We had a feeling about him, but Sam Lane is an asshole. F that guy. You know, there were times where I could, you know, when he was talking to Clark about the separation of his life, I could almost relate to him.
Right.
But that bullshit he pulled with the kids, man, I'm like, F you, man. I hated him after that. Like he basically flat out told the kids, hey, your dad's more important to the world than he is to you. You need to start acting like it. I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. Who does that? I mean, not even to just two kids. Those were his biological grandkids.
Right.
Like, F you. But we really got to see some of the fallout from Superman's decision to focus more on his family life and less away from Metropolis.
Right. But it just seems like it keeps getting pulled back, though. You know, I mean, there's this trouble going on and that trouble. You know, and even this episode, the villains know something's wrong or something's off. I mean, that was stated by Mastermind, right? Was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I had to look up. Good credit to CW. They're becoming the BBC when they're reusing actors, but he had the full beard and everything, but I'm listening to him. I'm like, that guy sounds so familiar. I looked him up. In the later seasons of Arrow, where Ollie was in prison, he was the little wormy guy that was kind of like, hey, you're Green Arrow. I'm going to be your buddy so you can protect me. It was the same guy. Not the same character. But the same actor.
Yeah. Huh.
So I saw that, and my first thought was, come on, man, your BBC is showing, you know.
I knew he probably was a John Byrne villain because he just seemed like a John Byrne villain.
Yeah. And that was another thing I thought was really cool. That was a really cool effect when he was blasting Superman with that sonic weapon, and you saw his like ears.
Oh yeah. Like
getting red hot. And we saw Superman slip a little bit. I mean, he's still fallible. It was still a great moment though when Mastermind was shooting with that gun and he did the Hulk clap.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome. But I mean, there was a few bystanders that got knocked on their ass because of it. You know, he's not perfect.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love a flawed Superman, you know.
Right.
But I did this show is still. I'm loving it, man. Like, what are we 4 episodes in, and it's the consistency is there.
Yeah, I think there's one more, I think, and then they go on hiatus, and then Supergirl comes back March the 30th.
Yeah. Because you shared that on the UVN Facebook page.
Yeah, they had to shut down production for a little bit, so they decided to switch Supergirl back around, and guess that's really going to be different this season too. So, they're wrapping that season up. So, we'll get to see what happens there, because I guess Lex's sister is going to be a little different this year or something. I guess she helps him more or something. Yeah, Lena. So yeah. Or at least that's what I was hearing on some reports, for the first episodes.
Yeah.
But who knows?
We got another episode of The Flash this week, and I think this is what we were talking about, Richard. It was a season finale that was like in the middle of the season,
Yeah,
so it was,
right at the start of the season.
yeah, pretty much. I did of the episodes the few episodes we've gotten so far. You know what it really felt? Honest to God, Richard, you know what it felt like this episode was? Like the writers realized, this isn't good.
Yeah.
This was a not a reboot, but it was just like they realized, like, oh shit, we need to flip the switch, and
yeah,
it's like do over. It was a do over. It was just like, okay, wrap it up now.
And he didn't have to time travel.
I'm no kidding. And at first, Richard, I kind of like scoffed at the idea. What was it? It was like the power of love, But just, what? That scene would have worked so much better had it aired when it was supposed to air, shorter than after Crisis, because I had forgotten too. It was like the paragon of love. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It tied back into it. I'll give them that,
It's like I said, they're just cleaning up, I think, their mistakes and starting fresh. So I think starting next week will be the new season, basically.
Yeah. And I like the way they no pun intended, they quickly brought the original Speed Force back, because it really did. It really felt like the writers went, shit. We're no more 5 or 6 episodes. We're taking care of this here and now. We got Cisco back. We got Caitlin back. It was like the writers were like, we're sorry. We realized we screwed up. It was like they were asking the audience for a mulligan. Like, can we just get a ball drop and just carry on from here?
And then they kind of got rid of all of the Wells now too, for now.
Yeah, which, man, I love me some Tom Cavanaugh. That show just doesn't. Well, he's not gone.
He's time traveling.
Yeah, I did.
But there is the multiverse.
Like that what's that?
But there is the multiverse.
Yeah,
they're acting like there's no multiverse. I think it's because things changed. And they were still writing as if it was still going to be one universe. Now I think they had to I think that's where they had to reverse some stuff, and they kept some writing, but yet still didn't. I think it was just between that and just sloppy editing,
Yeah, because it seemed kind of funny, Richard, that they would be like, oh no, one universe. By the way, the main villain of this season is going to be from the Mirrorverse.
Yeah.
But I did.
Yeah.
What? You didn't even bother changing the words.
Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff just about this whole, Arrowverse, because it's like they just rebooted everything. They almost did like a Flashpoint. It was more of a Flashpoint than a Crisis.
It really was. And you want to talk about also correcting mistakes very quickly and moving on. We were curious about it, and they did it in one episode. They handled the whole Ralph Dibny situation.
Oh, I know. That was perfect.
Holy shit. I was like, how, we talked about this before, Richard. I didn't even expect them to touch the subject for a while. Then all of a sudden, there was Sue, and then here come this blob, and I'm like, they're going to do it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I got to admit, Richard, it sounds to me like they're going to do it exactly like we had talked about before, where it's just like, we love the character, we love Ralph, and we love Sue together. It's a shame to get rid of both of them. It's a shame to get rid of one or the other.
Right.
Well, we have a guy who can change his appearance.
Yeah.
You know, let's just pull a Bewitched and, change the actor out without telling anybody. But I gotta say, at least the way they did it fit with the theme of the Flash.
Right.
The whole Daft Punk helmet thing. I was like, they weren't even trying to hide the campiness. They were just like slap him in a full body suit, and with Star Labs
and digitize his voice so it wasn't his same voice.
I was like, God damn.
Darth Vader.
Yeah. And I like that they acted so nonchalant about it too. Like Sue and Ralph were gonna go out and like, oh, we're gonna go right wrongs across the world. Like the dude in the full Darth Vader helmet with Star Labs written across it in a digital voice isn't going to be conspicuous. How the hell is he going to get on an airplane?
Well, she probably has private plane or something.
This is true. But I do like the idea that at any time in the future, that Ralph and Sue can come back, and it's just like, that's gonna actually. I'm kind of looking forward to that, Richard, because it's gonna be a fun episode where Ralph comes back completely different,
right?
And everyone's like, "Oh, who are you?" It's like, "It's me," right?
Yeah, and then twitch his nose or something. Make his nose go long and twitch.
They better. I was so pissed off that they never really.
They did it once, didn't they?
They did it like one time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they always it was a running joke where he would say, "I smell a mystery."
Right.
But yeah, even the end was, I'm not saying it was lackluster, but it fell back to the whole, oh, the villain sees that she was wrong and we forgive you, go back to your world.
Yeah.
It really did. It felt like the writers realized we have one episode to fix this mess. Let's get it all out. Let's fix everything,
And then this week we'll start all over.
Yeah. Which I'm glad for. I'm glad. Because I haven't even really, well, I guess because of the shifting of the season finale and everything, like even by now we have some kind of inkling what's coming up in the future. Like they would tease Grodd, or they tease the Thinker. It's like, I have no idea what's coming up next.
It probably didn't have much of that filmed, when they were trying to do the launch of the series, because they're probably only 6 episodes. See, we're 2, 3. They probably only got 3 or 4 more out there even done. Is how far along they are. So they might not even know what's going on.
But I really enjoyed this one. I love when they actually show more screen time with Joe and his wife.
Oh,
not Nora, that's the daughter. But I love Joe.
Yeah.
In terms of like my favorite characters on that show, like Joe is like, a lot of times he's up there above like Cisco and Caitlin, and way above Iris. Okay, let's just address the elephant in the room, man. They need to tone Iris down.
And then she had the power. I think they're going to do some different after this, point and stuff.
Well, my problem, it's not the actress.
No,
I love her. It was the same problem, Richard, I had with Jenna Coleman when she was the doctor's companion. Here's the companion and here's the doctor.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was my biggest beef with her. They were Clara episodes with the doctor in them. It was becoming the Iris show, and I'm not knocking her. I love Iris, but it was like the Iris show and Flash over here crying every episode.
But the one good thing, speaking of the multiverse, we got a sneak preview this week of a villain for Stargirl.
Oh my God, dude. Dude, no. You don't understand, man. I love Eclipso. Dude, if you dig through my books, like every like mini series they ever did with him as the villain, man, I had him. I still have Richard. I think I had 2 issues. I had 2 copies of it because I opened one and the other one was like polybag, but it was the '90s, so it was a gimmick.
Right.
But it had the plastic
with the
shard.
gem. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love that. And dude, he looked awesome.
I know.
Dude, he looks awesome. Because they didn't just like, oh, we're just going to take a dude and like paint side of his face. You know, they put some effort into this.
Yeah. I still think Stargirl has the best budget besides Superman now. Superman and Lois.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, they don't have to spend all that money on Ollie's trick arrows on Arrow anymore. You know, ooh, that saved up a huge part of our budget. I did. I'm ridiculously excited for that, man.
But that just leads up to more series, especially now HBO Max is getting more DC Universe stuff.
I know. Oh, man. Let's
especially
just jump right. I don't even know, Rich. I don't even know where to start. Let's start with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Because it was an hour long, you know, which is going to be ironic. Watch, we'll talk 4 hours about the hour-long show, and we'll talk 5 minutes about the 4-hour movie. But this week we got to see the premiere of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Dude, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was talking to the guys at the comic book store today, and they put it really good. I loved it in a different way than I loved WandaVision. These are 2 completely different not even just stories, but types of stories.
Right.
You know, WandaVision is an animal in and of itself. That was the Twilight Zone, Outer Limits. That was its own thing. Falcon and Winter Soldier is a good old-fashioned, you know...
At least it wasn't a buddy cop movie like they originally tried to sell it.
Yeah.
You know, I was happy about that because I was a little nervous, you know, with that very first trailer looking like it was going to be a buddy cop movie.
Oh,
you know, it would have been okay, but you know, what they pulled off was a lot better. You know, it was it was a more solid story. It dug into their backstory more, and it shows what a superhero is like being like on his downtime.
Yes, because it addressed the biggest elephant in the room, like a blanket statement of all like superheroes. What do they do for money?
I know.
When Sam goes to bank, you hadn't thought about it, but it was just like, well, he worked for Air Force, but like shit, where's his paycheck coming from? Because even the guy at the bank was like, "Did you get a check from Tony Stark every week or something?" And he was like, "Well, it didn't really work like that."
Yeah. Well,
you know,
and
like,
he was gone. He was gone for 5 years too.
Yeah.
And that showed what the financial status of the people has been gone for 5 years.
Yes. And small little details, exactly. Not only that, but Sam and his sister went to the bank, and Sam had that 5 years ago mentality of the bank policies.
Right.
And I will never defend a bank. I will never defend a bank. But the guy was, I hate to put it like this, but the guy was doing his job. So I'm like, look, this is the policy. I love you, but this is the policy we have. I can't, you know, you've been gone for 5 years. You know.
But I love it when he wanted the selfie with them.
Oh, that was, can you do that? Let my man on you. And I love how Sam played it too. Not played it, but like downplayed it. Yeah. Because at first he wasn't going to say anything. But then guys like, how do I know you? And I thought that was so adorable because Sam was just like, you know. He's like, oh yeah, you know. I did. A lot of people. I went into the first episode getting what I fully expected. I didn't expect. I gotta admit, I expected at least the two of them to have
Right.
like reunited in the first episode.
Yeah.
But the first episode, I liked the way they were doing it. They're building the core character stories first,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
we got to see. Not only did we get to see, what Sam's life's been like since he's been back after the blip, but with Bucky, not only did we get to see his life being affected by, being gone for 5 years because of the blip, but also because of his history.
Right.
That's a lot of baggage. You know what I mean? That's,
Yeah. And the same with Bucky too,
yeah.
Those scenes when he was there with the psychologist and stuff like that,
I loved those scenes. I love those scenes so much because there was so much good. Really, there was so much stuff about those scenes that like built upon each other. Because here you have James Buchanan Barnes, who in the Marvel universe is this like ultimate badass, but here he is sitting on the couch, and I loved when the therapist was trying to get him to talk about his nightmares. He's like, I didn't have nightmares. When she pulled out the notebook,
oh,
and he's like, oh God, you're pulling out the notebook. Like, no, like he was like almost genuinely afraid of the notebook. He goes, I like what he said too. He goes, that is so passive aggressive. Like every time like he would clam up, she'd be like, okay. And I like the way they played her too, that she wasn't just a therapist. Because it was when he made the comment, the sarcastic comment, you're a horrible therapist. She goes, yeah, but I was a damn good soldier.
right.
Then it was just like, oh shit. This is somebody who's not only, a skilled therapist, but this is a soldier, somebody who's been in the shit like he has, So it's not just her psychology training that she's pulling on. It's her experience, I love that. And I love the idea, because everybody I talked to was kind of wondering the same thing. It's just like, how are they going to handle Bucky even being allowed to be out in the world again?
Right.
But it was just like, this is part of your parole. And it was just like, in one sentence, it shut the doors on any questions. This is part of your parole. And I like that it was almost like Alcoholics Anonymous, where they have the steps. He had the steps.
Oh.
Step 1, don't hurt anybody. Step 2, don't break a law. But it was really good character seeing him adjusting to the world. Not only for him being out of the world for 5 years because of the blip, but him being out of the world for the last 100 years.
Yeah. Yeah, 190 exact. Remember when he was
Yeah. And I loved his little relationship with the older gentleman.
Oh yeah.
I loved that.
But it was awful sad. But it was awful sad once he realized that who his son was.
Yeah. Because I even had that moment, Richard, where I was watching it and Bucky had just left the day. And my first thought was, oh God, because she made the comment about how the old man had not been the same since his son died. And it was just the not knowing that was killing him.
Right.
And when Bucky left, I found myself saying to myself, don't tell him. You don't need to do this. That is going to break that old man. And when he knocked on that door, I legitimately, I got emotionally invested. I'm like, don't do it, man. For God's sake, don't do it. And I don't consider him chickening out. He made the best mature decision, you know.
Right.
But it was such a great character moment. You know, we haven't gotten to really see that from Bucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whole part there with the shield, you know, where Falcon didn't become Cap, you know.
At first, I was a little upset by that, but we saw later on in the story where it was leading.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this, Richard. I didn't think about this until I was talking to the guys at the comic book store. Okay, remember at the very beginning when Sam had to rescue the soldier, right?
Yeah.
Now, the No Man Left Behind is all, you know, is very established, but it seemed like an exorbitant amount of effort for this one soldier, which I fully agree with, but they never delved into exactly why it was so important. Like we were getting a sense that this particular soldier had either was very special or had information, but they never really touched on it. Interesting theory that Alex at Alter Ego had is maybe you think maybe that was the guy that's going to end up being the new Captain America, which is why they made such a big deal about rescuing him.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the rumor mentality and theory mentality from WandaVision is starting to bleed over.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even reading half the stuff anymore, so I quit reading for this one. You know.
Yeah. But it was good seeing Falcon back. I mean, back in action. Like he picked up like where he left off, and that was a great moment with him and Rhodey.
Oh yeah.
At the Smithsonian, and
right.
It made sense for what they're planning on doing with the story, and I kind of understood where Sam was coming from. You know, like that's a heavy responsibility. But at the same time, too, my first thought was when we're seeing that they're putting the shield in the Smithsonian Institute. My first thought was, dude, you live in the Marvel universe. Freaking Fort Knox gets broke into like on a weekly basis. You're really going to put the most symbolic thing in America just in a museum? You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah.
Come on, dude. I mean, let's at least go replica. Let's at least tell the American public, you know, it's Cap Shield and
yeah, it probably is. They probably had it somewhere else, you know.
But it was a great moment when Sam was delivering the speech to the crowd. You know,
yeah,
we got to see. It was a good reminder of just how close of friends Sam and Steve genuinely were. You know what I mean? It wasn't just the fact that they teamed up a few times. These guys were friends, you know.
Yeah, because they knew each other even before he picked up the mantle as a Falcon. Remember? So they
Civil
had that
War.
Where they
Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did. It was a great character building episode is really what it was.
Right.
We got to learn more about Sam's family. You know,
right.
And I think the one part that really tickled me, Richard, as a younger sibling, when Sam and his sister are on the boat and she hit him, and he was genuinely like, God, I forgot how hard you hit. If you have an older sibling, you felt that punch. It was just like, nope, that was a real moment, dude. That was a real, genuine moment. But it was great to see not only Sam having to get back into the world after 5 years, but seeing not only how the world has moved on, but his family. You know, it wasn't like he was just observing the world from the outside changing after 5 years. I mean, his sister, his nephews, you know, the family business, the family house. You know, his sister had to smack him into reality. It's like 5 years, dude, has passed. You know,
Right.
For you, it's been a couple months. For us, it's been 5 years. This is the way, you know, stuff is now.
Yeah, you know, we've always talked a little bit about that too, you know, how did that play out? And we're starting to see some stuff how it did play out, you know, and we'll probably see even more coming up, you know, in Doctor Strange, you know, and Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's working sort of. I'm still a little not sure exactly how they're going to handle all of it, you know. This like future time jump and stuff, you know, because the world had changed, so you know, it's one of them things they got to deal with it. So hopefully they keep dealing with it.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it an introduction, but the cult or the organization, you know, the guys with the mask with the hand, you know, with the handprint on them, you know,
Hydra Jr.
Pretty much, yeah. And I'm betting, Richard. Again, I hate to go back to the WandaVision mentality of rumors and theories, but you remember the redheaded woman they're showing in the previews?
Right.
I'm banking that's Sin. That's the daughter of the Red Skull, or you know.
Oh, yeah.
Because she had in the comic book, she had a close relationship with Crossbones, who we know is, you know. He got blowed up, you know, but you know that the guy with the handprint on the mask, you know, I got a feeling that that's going to be their equivalent of that relationship in the comic books is going to be the two of them.
That could be.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. I still would like to see some of the other stuff that plays out of Cap because you know we haven't seen Sharon Stone yet. So Sharon Stone, Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter.
I just read an article about Sharon Stone today. That's what.
Oh,
but yeah.
I just had an amalgamation of Basic Instinct in the Marvel movies cross my head, and I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, Sharon Stone's got a new book coming out. I was reading about that.
I did. I enjoyed the episode for what it is. It was a great setup episode.
Right. It was a little long. It could have been. I still thought it was a little long because it was almost 50 minutes. It was 49 something. You know.
Yeah. But what was nice about it though, Richard, even being that long, was it was still a really good balance between the two of their stories.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, you know, oh, this is how the both of us are reacting after, you know, Steve's or not even passing, you know, he's probably still alive somewhere, you know, it was just an old man a minute ago, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a good balance between the two of them. And I really liked when they showed Bucky's nightmares about, you know, him still having to live with the guilt and shame of everything he did as the Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like how they do, you know, it's got to be tough. He has the memories of everything he did while he was under the control, you know, so that's got to really mess you up in the long run. And we'll just have to see what happens, you know, in the next 5 episodes. 5 episodes. You know?
It was still a nice touch, Richard, that some of the better, it was fresh, that some of the best, I don't want to say comedic, but some of the funnier moments of the episode came from Bucky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the one part, and I actually rewound it and rewatched it because I don't know why it amused me so much, but when he was at the restaurant and the little kitten statue, you know, we've all seen them 100 times, you know, with the swinging arm, you know.
Yeah.
And not only that, it was the same arm too, but he stopped the arm and then it just kept going. And just, again, his whole interaction with the therapist and the whole, you know, oh God, she's getting out the notebook. Fine, listen, this is what happened, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, you are so passive aggressive, you know.
Like I said, we're just gonna have to wait and see. We got 5 more weeks.
I don't, Richard. I couldn't remember. We talked about it. Me and Alex were talking about it earlier. How many episodes is this season going to be? It's relatively short, isn't it? Like 7 or 8?
6.
6.
Yeah, there's only 6.
Shit.
Yeah, it's labeled 1.1, 1.2, 1.3,
Oh.
and 1.6 is the last one. And
Yeah,
and they're already stating that there probably will be a season 2.
Yeah. I remember we talked about that. Yeah. God damn, 6.
Yeah.
See, Richard, they're finally listening to your suggestions. You know, it's like, keep them small, 6 or 7. You know. But I liked it. It's not. I hate when people are comparing it to WandaVision. They're completely. These are not even in the same genre. I mean, Marvel movie, but they're not the same genre.
Yeah, it's totally different. This is more. It's not your street level, but sort of like a street level. It's more your spy espionage style stuff. You know.
Yeah.
At least that's why I always looked at Cap. You know, I mean, it was a war scenario with the first one, you know, but it was more spy, Shield, stuff like that. So maybe we'll see what's going on with Shield too. You never know.
Yeah. Well, I hope we find out something. Like you said, with everything that happened, you know, to go back to the show, you know, with WandaVision and Sword, you would think it logically would have to at least be mentioned coming up, you know.
Yeah, I mean Sharon Carter is going to be in it, so we at least know what happens to her. It's like she's on the run or what? Because you know the T-shirt from Hot Topic said wanted. So what's she? You know, some kind of criminal in the eyes of the, you know, in Interpol or something. You know.
Yeah. Richard, I made myself so proud as I had a geek pride moment last night when I got home from work, and I so purposely tried to avoid Facebook, Instagram, everything, because I didn't want any kind of spoilers for Jesus Christ, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League dropped this week, and we are going to jump right into it. I found myself, Richard, all night at work yesterday. Like, I was doing the math. Like, okay, if I get home at this time, I take a shower and I eat, okay. It was like I had to make a decision, Richard. It was like, okay, you know, I'm old, man. I can't stay up like I used to, Richard. You know, it was like, okay, if I watch Falcon, that's an hour. Okay, if I maybe want, no, dude, I pulled it off. It was as close to an all-nighter as I've pulled in a long time, Richard. But I got home from work. I wasn't even wasting time cooking dinner, Richard. I stopped and got me some Arby's on the way home. I'm like, no, we are not, you know. I did, after I watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was like, I can do this. And if I fall asleep, I fall asleep, but I didn't. Richard, I was so proud of myself. Throughout Falcon and Winter Soldier and the entirety of the Justice League, I didn't pick my phone up once, Richard.
No.
I didn't pick it up once. I didn't get on Facebook. I didn't do it. No. I set it aside. I did it, Richard. I hammered both of them out last night, and I was awake for the entire duration. I did. I tackled them back to back, and after I got done watching it, I was sitting in my living room by myself, you know, like there was nobody around. I'm like, yeah, I did it, man. I'm watching them both, you know. But yeah, the Snyder cut. I loved it. There you go. There it is. I really did. Here's the argument I will get into, Richard, with people. You know, it was 4 hours long. Anyone who has ever, dude, I have sat on the weekends when it was like crappy out. I've binged 4 or 5 hours worth of like Community or whatever TV show. I don't want to hear anybody complain about the length of a goddamn movie anymore when I know for a fact that these are the same people. Oh yeah, man, I watched the entire Sabrina, the Chilling. I watched all of them this weekend. And I don't want them to drop episodes every week. I just want to binge it. F you, same people. Don't complain to me about a 4-hour movie when you're going to watch 12 episodes of something in one sitting. I don't.
Yeah. Well, I've actually seen Gone with the Wind in the theater.
Exactly.
It's 3 hours and 58 minutes. Wow, it's 3 minutes shy of this. So, but I did split it up into 3 segments because I started watching it because I was waiting on the FedEx driver to deliver a package. So I was watching it there. The FedEx delivered the package. I did all my stuff there. And then I started back up. Then it was supper time. So I broke and went to supper and ate supper, then finished it. So,
which I have absolutely no problem with because I never once heard you complain, Richard, like, 4 hours. This is stupid. No.
I saw Dr. Zhivago in the theater. That's
exactly.
3 hours. That's 3 hours and 28 minutes.
Yeah.
And 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is only 2.5 hours, but you should get an intermission with the 70mm.
Yeah. Oh God, what movie? God, I watched something here not too long ago that actually had the intermission to it. Which was weird because I was watching it on demand. I'm like, okay, I guess I can go to the restroom.
I think they did that because it's probably playing it's in original format, probably.
Yeah. But it just felt weird, I'm at home watching it on digital, and I'm like,
Well, that's like back in the old IMAX days before digital. If you actually had to watch a movie when Star Wars Attack of the Clones came out, they had an IMAX screening of that, right?
Oh,
so they had to edit it down to 2 hours. So it was a different version than what was in the theater. So I've loved remixed movies, ever since with like Superman being on ABC. That was a total another version of that first Superman, and they did the same thing with like Earthquake, Aliens, all that stuff during the 70s always got remade for TV. It was a whole nother mix.
And I think one of the greatest examples, Richard, was you mentioned Superman, but Superman 2, the Donner's cut.
Oh yeah, that was.
And you know what? I really draw the parallels, Richard, between the Zack Snyder and Whedon cuts to the theatrical version and the Donner cut of Superman 2. We're no strangers to this.
And a lot of people cringes, but Highlander 2 was the same way. The theatrical cut was terrible, but if you watch the recut, actually it wasn't too bad, the recut.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It still was bad.
Dude, that was an involuntary reaction to those words. Highlander 2. I can't say them together, man. I can't. Oh my God.
I know I had to go there, but like I said, this isn't something new. Everybody's acting like this is something totally new. It's not. Directors have always had their movies tampered with, should almost say, by the studio. The studio wants what they want. They're paying the money, so most of the times you have to give into it. And then after it's out for a few times, the studios decide, oh, we can make more money. Here, you go give us what you want. The fans didn't like what we gave them, so we'll give them something else. So then go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. And I'll give HBO Max credit. At least they didn't try to pull that Disney Plus bullshit where it's just like, oh, yeah, we're going to release the movie to the service you're already paying for. But if you want to watch it right away, it's going to be $30.
I was a little upset it didn't get released in the theater, sort of, because I almost went and saw it in the theater.
I would have. Richard, here's my stance on it. I sat and watched it last night, the whole 4 hours. If they release this movie to the movie theater in its full 4-hour presentation, I'll pay the money to go see it. That's how much I liked it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of them things. I think there was a lot of contractual stuff because I know they kind of wanted to do it as like a 4-part, but they couldn't do it because it had to be released as a movie because
Yeah.
the actors originally signed and stuff like that. And then, when we got to see a lot of new stuff added to the movie that really changed what Josh Whedon was trying to do. And it cleaned up some of the editing. It still had its troubles.
Yeah.
It wasn't the greatest edited movie, but it was a lot better than what we saw several years back.
Yeah. Here's my thing about the two movies, Richard, and I'm going to go back to the Donner cut. I like both of them. I like the theatrical cut, and I like the Snyder cut. I almost wish, Richard, that I was a better video editor. I wish I was as good as you, because there were still parts from like Whedon's movie that I wish, like just this part right here, I wish I could pick up and drop in Zack Snyder's. You know what I mean? There were few moments.
I don't know. Most of the stuff that Whedon did, I didn't like.
Well, there was a couple scenes I wished. I mean, we couldn't do it because it was completely different. But like, for example, in the Whedon version, when Cyborg is separating the mother boxes and Superman's there, that nice little interaction between Superman and Cyborg, I loved that. Where Superman says, I can't remember the exact dialogue, but he was like, I really don't want to die, and Cyborg was like, me neither. And when they get blown apart and they're both laying there. That little interaction, I loved that part. I really did love that part, because it kind of humanized. I'm not saying humanized Superman, but it was a nice little bit of levity, when Cyborg was like, my toes hurt. How is that even physically possible that my toes hurt? I love that moment.
Yeah, true.
But I did. You're exactly right, Richard. I think one of the biggest differences, Richard, was they really did bury. How do we put this into tenses, Richard? We were talking about this at the comic book store today, because everything that happened in Zack Snyder's movie was like previous to Whedon's movie, but do we talk about it in the past tense or the previous tense, or But I like how they did Barry. Barry was so much more fleshed out, and not just a bumbling, I don't want to say idiot, you know what I mean? But
well, he was young. They played his youngness off too much, I thought.
Yeah.
And he really should have been, because he was a college student. He was in college, But
I like that even in Snyder's cut, he was still lighthearted. He was still the kid.
Right.
Like when they first show up at like the Batcave, they didn't do the zippy spinny thing, but he was still he still had that youthful exuberance. You know what I mean?
Right.
He wasn't the solemn, like Aquaman, but we didn't I'm gonna make up a word, sillified him. They made him too silly.
Oh yeah.
And in Snyder's cut, he was still youthful and everything, and still was like genuinely happy to be a part of the team. But in Whedon, remember when they first faced off with Steppenwolf, he was like, "Oh, I'm terrified." It's like,
Oh yeah.
He was in Snyder's cut. He was inexperienced, but he wasn't terrified.
True. Yeah, and I love that whole. I love that whole the part that was with Iris that was cut out.
Oh,
even though it was in slow motion,
Everybody was. That's been the one big complaint about the Whedon, the Snyder cut was the slow mo. You have to do slow motion for. Let's just. When it comes to the Flash, he gets a get out of jail free card for me. We have to see Flash in slow motion. I don't want a split second of truck Iris, You know what I mean? I
Right.
need to see Barry in slow motion. When he was saving her, and he had that moment when he was like genuinely, like you could see him falling in love with her.
Oh
And then
yeah.
at the same time too, he's falling in love with her, and oh, hot dog. I really liked that moment. And I like how they did it too. It wasn't that he was taking the hot dogs for himself. They show him later on sitting there with the dogs, you know. And I love
Yeah.
how they played him too, where he was less like, oh golly, did you see what just happened? Gee whit, you know.
Yeah. And I'm glad I have these treats with me, you know. So what did he do? Grab the hot dogs off the street and brought them in with him?
No, it was in midair because remember it was the
Oh,
hot
that's
dog
right.
part that got hit first.
Right.
And then, you know,
Yeah, I just figured he caught him as he was going through doing everything else.
yeah, as he was saving Iris, it was just like that cart and shrapnel and everything, like, oh, oh, hot dog. I'll take that, you know. I think this stuff. Here's how I don't understand how to talk about this movie, Richard, because I want to say that they added it. They didn't add it, you know, it was there, you know,
Right.
originally. But I don't know how else to phrase it, Richard, because for us who saw it theatrically, this is added footage. So
Yeah.
my brain doesn't know how to comprehend the dialogue text of, you know, it
It's
wasn't
just added
added.
footage. You just call it
Yeah.
added footage because it's what it is, you know.
Yeah. But I really liked a lot of the stuff that got added. They fleshed out Barry a lot more. We got to see more of him with his dad. You know, the scene in the prison, you know, with his dad.
Yeah.
The stuff with Diana, we got to see that fleshed out a little bit more.
Yeah, that actually made a lot more sense, I think. The whole part
Yeah.
where she saves the kids and stuff. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
looked a lot better this time than it really did the other
Yep.
time. Yeah. I think the editing needed that little extra. I think we didn't cut a little too much out of that. And it didn't flow right the first time. And it did flow better. I think the whole stuff with Wonder Woman worked better in the
I do
Snyder
too.
cut.
I fully agree with that. The only problem I have, my biggest complaint about the Zack Snyder cut, I hated the soundtrack, Richard.
No.
I know it's such a minute thing. I hated the soundtrack. And I know what it is, Richard, because it was almost like he was trying too hard to capture the lightning in the bottle he got with the Watchmen soundtrack.
Right. But he likes that stuff. That's Whedon's forte, you know.
But it wasn't that I disagreed with a soundtrack. It was like the particular songs in general. Like I'm listening to these songs, I'm like, this song genuinely sucks. You know what I mean, Richard? I know and I'm like, it genuinely sucks, and it really didn't fit the tone of like the particular scenes.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the only people that owns the soundtrack to Sucker Punch.
No, you're not. That had a good soundtrack.
But it just still fits, like you said, it's his version with like Watchmen, Sucker Punch, all of his movies like that has that style of music, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how he envisions his superheroes. That's how he wants because like I said, we just read Watchmen, you know, and I rewatched Watchmen before this too. So like you said, this had a lot of Watchmen feel to it too. You know, this is how he envisions superheroes. He's trying to make them become how do I want to say immortal, you know, or something, you know.
No, I 100% love that. No, that wasn't my complaint. It was just like the particular. I will not buy that soundtrack.
Yeah, I know.
I will not. I did not.
But that's what he wanted. That's what he was trying to get the soundtrack wrapped around because it was portrayed the stuff that he liked compared to how he was envisioning his superheroes, you know.
Yeah. But honestly, between between us, Richard, that was like my biggest complaint with the movie, and it's such a minor complaint too. You know, I swear to God, but the only thing is, though, I'll freaking mute it next time I watch it, and I will watch it again. That whole choir soundtrack, like whenever Wonder Woman or the Amazon, like no, man, I don't care if it's 9 times in a row. I want the Wonder Woman. I want that theme song. Da, 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 you know. But you're absolutely right, Richard. That scene in the museum or whatever, just the little bit that got it added to it really made it that much better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I did. I love the scene, you know, when he's firing the guns, and you know, I can't remember, Richard, and I really should have. The one thing I really liked more about that scene was, I can't remember, Richard, in the Whedon version. If I'm wrong, Richard, correct me. I will admit to it. I keep thinking that in the Whedon version, when she gets the briefcase, did she fly up and then throw it, or did she just throw it in the Whedon version?
I think she went up with it and then tossed it, you know, because she had to get that extra attitude up, and then she came back down or whatever.
Right. Because I kept thinking, for some odd reason, it bugged me in the Whedon version that she didn't fly it up. I kept thinking like she leapt up, maybe up to the roof and then chucked it. But I'm like, well, by the time Justice League rolled around, 1984, she knew how to fly. You know, we never really see it.
Right.
You know. That was okay.
I think that's how it was. It was the same.
But I did really like that scene when they showed her when she flew up and then she chucked it, and she hovered there to watch it.
Right.
In that moment when she came back down with the kids, I loved that extra 2 minutes. You know what I mean? When she's comforting the kids. That was a very Wonder Woman thing to, you know, she has always been the ambassador, you know, and to just like, hey, you're saved, I'm out. Peace, you know, and take off, you know. And
told the girl that she could be whatever she wanted to be. Yeah.
Call me a sucker, Richard. Call me a sappy old bastard, but I loved it. I genuinely loved that moment. I really did.
That, like I said, all that stuff worked. Most of the movie worked. I could see why some people still didn't like it, because it's not their Justice League, you know. It's not what they wanted out of the characters, so that's why you don't like it. It's not your characters. And this is different because we're actually seeing a movie with these characters envisioned by somebody else, and it's a different time, a different place, and a different universe. You know, it's not what you read. You just got to get it out of your mind. Yep. These aren't the characters that you read. This is a whole nother interpretation of these characters. And just to get over it, you know, watch it for what it is and not compare it to the source material. That's what's, I think, why WandaVision really went wonky, because everybody was trying to say, this has got to happen, because it happened in the comic. No, step back. This isn't the comics. This is another interpretation of the source material, you know. And it's just how you have to look at it, you know. And that's what's making me really upset with all these people getting so upset. Oh, you're not honoring. Who cares? It has to be something different. You just can't just interpret stuff exactly word for word anymore, because it's not worth it, you know. And the times change so much that maybe something in one of them older stories really can't be reinterpreted anymore because it's going to offend somebody, you know.
Some of the other little stuff that I loved more was I really liked the additional the stuff with Darkseid at the beginning, where the first Age of Heroes, when they showed the gods, the Atlanteans, the Amazons,
right,
we got to see more, it wasn't a whole lot more, but we got to see more FaceTime of the Green Lantern.
Right.
It wasn't just a green blur, it was full on,
Right. And you got to see Hercules. And you got to see Hercules with the humans.
And we saw Zeus.
Right.
Ares, So it's I mean, aside from, Diana, that solidified in this universe, there are the gods. There is and or was, we don't know, but these are all, I love that they got to flesh out the relationship between, well, not the relationship, but the relationship between Diana and Arthur more. That, I liked the whole bit, where, she mentions that the Amazons have, been at war, or, have had distrust and dislike of the Atlanteans. And he was just like, yeah, me too. I don't like him either. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's whole, what Hercules did to the Amazons. That was more the alien stuff. And that's why the Amazon, but I did pick up on something watching this time. Okay. You saw that battle sequence and then they evolved modern day. Why haven't the Amazons invented more better weapons? Atlanteans have.
You know what, Richard, honest to God, I thought about the same thing, because when they showed them guarding the mother box,
right,
there's three dozen of them with arrows.
Yeah, that's all they have is arrows or spears, and swords.
Yeah.
You think by now they would at least copy some technology, have some kind of, force beams or something,
Not even copied it, Richard. It developed it on their own over 5,000 years on their own. They should have done.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. And I always thought that with some of even the comic book writing of the Amazons, but they have had, because the Amazons I know at least created an invisible plane.
Yeah, we created an invisible. Yeah, but we haven't gone past the slingshot yet,
And then they were sacrificing themselves. Steppenwolf, came teleport. However, he can teleport without a mother box, which is kind of weird too, because New Gods always teleported with mother boxes, but the 3 mother boxes was on Earth. So how did he even teleport into that location in the first place if he's never been there?
I think this, Richard, is, like you said earlier, a separation between the source material and the movies. Is the mother boxes that we see in the movies are completely
not like a normal mother box. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Richard. The mother box is more like almost like a smartphone.
They create a boom tube. They opened up a point from one location to the other point. Yeah. Like you said, that's just what they did, But why did the Amazons try to close him into the temple when they knew he could just teleport out?
No, I agree with you, Richard, and I'll go one better than that. You have this gigantic temple that has all these amazing, the locks and everything. There's a goddamn dome.
Yeah.
There's a goddamn dome, and I'm pretty sure if they haven't developed a gun, tempered glass is probably not, safety glass, tempered glass, because they even showed it at the beginning. That was the camera angle, was when they came down through the dome on the roof. Why did Steppenwolf even bother with a boom tube? He could have just been on the roof and just like jumped in.
Yeah.
So they're getting ready, like you said, Richard, they're getting ready to lock the dome and to sacrifice everybody. Parademons can fly, dude. Oh shit, they locked the door. What are we flying creatures going to do?
Yeah. That little whole sequence just did not make no sense. Why would they,
Had the dome been enclosed, I think that was my biggest beat. Had the dome been enclosed, because remember, Richard, from their point of view, they didn't know about boom tubes. So, true. I mean,
Well, yeah, because
the
they came because they came by spaceship the first time.
Yep. So I mean, architecturally speaking, it was sound. It's like well, what was the point of? Well, wait a minute, Richard. Let's go back a second. What was the entire point of, like, when they closed everything up that it would sunk into the ocean?
They was going to try to imprison him, I guess.
But was the entire plan that they were just going to lure whatever creature it was in there, get them out, and then close it? Or my thing is that if they had the capability of collapsing the entire thing into the ocean, just bury the mother box then.
Yeah.
That was my other thing, Richard. Both them and the Atlanteans were both of the same thing. It's like they had them, I mean, granted, in like a tomb or whatever, but they were still out in the open.
Yeah.
Look, here's the mother box. Oh yeah, I got the door locked, but it's
Yeah.
At least the one of men was smart enough that they still encased it in that, like, steel box or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, the Nazi found it during World War II. So
Right,
they moved him around.
Yeah, but I don't think it was the Nazis that put it in that.
No, they took it out of that, is what they
Right.
did. Remember, they took it out because they were going to try to interpret how it used then World War II.
No, Silas did that because, remember, they showed the scene of him prying that box open.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
They showed the
Nazis just found it. That's all I know. And then because they didn't really show none of that. They just said that, didn't they?
Yep. And they never even really mentioned the fact that it was because, remember, at the end of Wonder Woman, when Diana was already gone, and it was the Ada and the other guys. That was the after credit scene. Was she was gathering them together to go after that box.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Like, I would have liked to have seen that scene. Just show, the guys in the background, like, we got it,
And then there was this guy in a fedora came by, helped him out.
Yeah, that belongs in a museum. I went, goddamn. The other thing that bugged me, and it wasn't Whedon's fault, or it wasn't Whedon, and it wasn't Snyder's fault, but I still hated the way that they handled the Atlanteans speaking underwater.
Oh yeah, that was.
It made absolutely no sense, because remember, like, when they showed them talking in the water, it was like echo. It was like dolphin talk, like
yeah. It was dolphin talk. Yeah.
But whenever they wanted to speak, she had to create the bubble.
Right.
I will call horseshit on that one. That one was,
he should have stuck with what they did in Aquaman.
But think about it, though. It wasn't really his fault, because Aquaman, the movie, came later.
That's true.
And they probably really had no.
But to edit that would have been easy.
Oh yeah.
That's what I don't understand. Snyder should have kept it. Well, it's his universe now, so it's not even part of the DC.
Yeah.
So. DCE. Yeah, you.
And the thing is for Mara to do it made sense, because, again, going back to the source material, she had aquakinesis. She could control water.
Right.
But when they showed Zuko doing it, not Zuko, I'm thinking Avatar, Volko do it, like, no, that's not a common Atlantean. So what, like, whenever Atlanteans want to actually talk to each other, like, they.
Yeah, I don't think that's. Yeah.
But I did like the addition of the scene with him and Volko showing his mother's trident and the suit.
Oh yeah.
It flowed better, Richard, because in the Whedon cut, like, he just showed up with the shit.
Right.
It's like, well, wait a minute, where'd he get, And I liked very much that at the end, when they were showing everybody going off, when they showed Arthur mentioning to Mara, I'm going to go see my dad. Because that flowed into Aquaman so much better.
Yeah.
It was, like he was so close to his dad in Aquaman, but in Justice League, like he was in Iceland. It's like, but at least
Yeah.
now that one scene alone made it flow into Aquaman so much better, so much better.
Yeah, true. Like I said, it had what it was supposed to do, and like I said, we got to see something different, and everybody signed up for HBO Max.
One of the things that I absolutely, Richard, and this was another one of those moments that I rewound to watch again because I loved it so much. I really did genuinely love this. Was when Bruce brings everybody to the, for lack of a better term, Batcave. When he introduces Alfred, this is Alfred, I work for him. I don't know why, Richard. I love that so freaking much. You know what I mean? And I will go on record to defend. I really did like Ben Affleck as Batman. I liked his Batman. I liked his Bruce Wayne, and I liked them even more in this one because just the interaction with him and Alfred, we got more of that, which I absolutely love. But just that one scene when he introduces everybody, it's like, this is Alfred. I work for him, and then Arthur is like, pretty badass. I was like, God damn it, I love that. I did. I really genuinely liked that. God, there was so much. Oh, dude, we haven't even mentioned all the Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
The best one was Uncle Ben.
Well, yeah. But the first one that I absolutely loved, Richard, because I'm a huge fan of the character anyways, was the introduction of Ryan Choi.
Oh, yeah.
Because my first thought was when they showed him with Silas. I mean, I hate to say it like this, but I know the character from the comic books. I know he is of Asian descent. I'm like, is he going to be? And at first I thought they were going to do it subtly. No, right. Ryan Choi. They flat out. I am, I'm like, oh.
Well, even in the dream sequence at the end, in the epilogue, when I saw the Flash, I kind of thought he was Adam at first.
Yeah.
With that metal, that containment suit and stuff, I thought maybe that was the Atom, but yeah. It wasn't. It was Flash. But still, at the same time, I just for a brief moment, I go, wait a second, was that? Because I even backed it up for a second to make sure what was going on,
Yeah. The one, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the cameo. I wasn't the hugest fan of how they did it though. Was the introduction of Martian Manhunter. No. I love that it was the general from Man of Steel.
Yeah,
I love that. I wasn't the biggest fan of the scene with Martha and Lois.
Yeah,
that should have been Martha.
Yeah,
I didn't like that. That should have been Martha. I didn't like that it was him impersonating Martha. I didn't like that one. And I like that they at least they explain, at least he went to the trouble of explaining so much more, because at the end with the epilogue, because it's like, okay, wait a minute. Before the big battle, we saw that it's the Martian Manhunter. Dude, where the shit was he during this big battle? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wanted the same thing, yeah.
But at least at the end of the movie, it kind of clarifies that I think that he realized he made a mistake and that he needs to be more front and center.
Right, yeah.
In this. He's been hiding for so long. And let's be honest, Richard, I mean, even from a logistics point of view, he might not have, maybe I hate to say he wasn't aware. It's the Martian Manhunter. He knew everything that would have been going on.
Yeah.
But hey, who's to say Martian Manhunter can turn invisible? Who's to say that he wasn't there and he was just like, shit hits the fan, I'll step in. They got this,
Yeah, it's just like a comic strip I just read today. I should have sent it to you, but I lost it before I could send it to you. It had a mouse talking to Stan Lee as the Watcher, and he was telling
Oh,
the mouse, have you seen it? When he
yes,
telling him
I
what he had
have.
to do to go to this van that's parked in San Francisco, and you got to fiddle with all the gadgets.
No,
And then
I know exactly.
and
Yeah,
then he turns, he goes, but I want to be an Avenger. So he's on top of the Hulk shoulder at the end of the
yeah,
in
I know
in game.
exactly. Yeah. Um, we got to see. Oh man, the one little change. I don't know why it bugged me as much as it did, Richard. And it was probably not even shot. It might have just been like a post uh voiceover dub, but I liked that they showed that it took a little while longer for Superman to remember who he was.
Oh yeah.
When they go back to the farm, the one little thing that bothered me was is I don't know how, I don't know which one bothers me more, but remember the scene where they first land, and in the Whedon version she mentions that I forgot how good you smell, and he goes, I didn't before, you know what I mean? And then in the Snyder cut, they changed the dialogue where when he mentions, I'm home, and she goes, oh, he speaks. It was a nice little nod that he wasn't regaining his memory all the way yet, because when she says, oh, he speaks, he goes, I didn't before. Like, that wasn't a sarcastic remark. Like, he genuinely was like, did I not
Oh
speak before?
yeah. Yeah, I don't know, that whole part just still bothers me a little bit. I just don't like the way they handled bringing him back and stuff. But that's me.
Yeah. But I did, yeah. But I did like that well, I'll give the Whedon cut this much. The one thing I liked more in the Whedon cut is that Bruce was prepared for like worst case. Well, one of the worst case scenarios when it came to bringing back Superman was in the movie. He referred to Lois as the big gun.
Oh yeah.
He had her sidelined in case he needed to pull her out. But in the Zack Snyder cut, it was just coincidence.
Yeah, she was just there. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
because she
luck.
was giving talkie. Oh, she's giving coffee to the cop there,
Did you recognize who the cop was, Richard? I
Um,
did.
which one? Who was he?
The original Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, was it?
And I loved how they did it too, because it bummed me out, because when they showed when they showed Barry at the prison with his dad, they didn't cut out. Whedon added it, but the scene where Barry is talking to the guard, when he's signing the slip to get into the prison, that was him. That was the actor that played Jimmy Olsen in the original Superman movies.
Oh, okay.
And I was bummed when they cut that scene out, because I'm like, oh man, it was Jimmy. But I guess it was backwards the way they did it, because in the original Zack Snyder cut, he was the cop that she was visiting. So I guess it was the opposite of. This is why I don't know how to talk about this movie, Richard, because he was originally in the movie, and when Whedon cut the scene, he put the actor back in as the guard because he wanted the actor to be in the scene.
Right.
But I'm thinking of it logically, time-wise, backwards, where I keep thinking that, no, Zack didn't cut that scene and add him there. It was the other way around.
Right. Yeah. Or it just wasn't used properly. Yeah. Well, the way Zack Snyder wanted it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was important.
Because Whedon probably didn't even care. I hate to say that.
No. I found out by in a thing. It was Zack Snyder put him in originally as the cop in the car, as as a great little Easter egg. But when Whedon cut that scene, Whedon wanted the actor to still be in the movie, so he added him in as the prison guard.
Oh, okay.
So it was a purposeful thing. But I loved that little Easter egg there. But no, it was weird that they were just relying on luck that Lois be there. That's the one time Whedon did make more sense. Batman plans for everything,
right?
So it would have made sense that, hey, we're bringing back Clark. We might want to have Lois on standby just in case, shit goes south,
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
But Whedon didn't do that. He just relied on, it was lucky that she happened to be in the neighborhood.
You mean Snyder? Snyder, yeah.
Or Snyder, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Snyder has another plan for all that too. Remember, if you read all the behind the scenes stuff, they were supposed to have an affair. Lane and Bruce Wayne.
Oh, I'm calling bullshit on that one because
her pregnancy test is in that drawer that she opens up that has her badge on top of.
That's right.
And see, she's impregnated from Bruce Wayne, and she has a kid together with him, but he was supposed to die in the next movie. And then in the third movie, Clark decides to raise the kid as his own, even though it's actually Bruce's, and then he becomes the new Batman.
Okay.
That was the original trilogy.
Here's where my mind went though, Richard, because I have 100,000 movies in my head, and I don't know if you'll catch this reference, but it was just so weird that they named the pregnancy test force majeure. Because, Richard, the first thing I thought when I read those words force majeure was my mind went straight to that movie with David Duchovny, Evolution.
Oh yeah,
because remember at the beginning when Sean Scott Thomas or whatever is practicing to be a fireman, and the thing blows up and it trashes his car, and the little sheriff and it was so like what made the scene funny was it was like this little hillbilly redneck cop, with a southern accent, but he kept telling him, the insurance company won't cover that because it's force majeure. And I went back and I rewound. I found it on YouTube. Those words, it's force majeure. So it was just those two words. As soon as I read that boxes, I thought about that comedic movie with. I was just like, why those two words, man?
But the whole thing is to me is. I always can never see Superman having sex with Lois Lane and impregnate her in the real world. Kryptonians, the physiological between Kryptonians and humans don't mix. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think it can mix unless, you go up to the Fortress of Solitude and you erase your powers and then come back, or you go to Argo. But it's just one of the things because I know that's a middle school joke, but at the same time, it's biology. It's real biology,
that honestly, Richard, what this entire conversation reminds me of is, what was it? Mallrats.
No.
He'd need a kryptonite condom, and that would kill him. Oh,
but it was well worth it. I thought to actually sit through all 4 hours. It was worth watching.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to sit through it again. I might fast forward and watch a couple parts over, but I probably won't sit and rewatch the whole thing again.
Yeah, I'm going to. I know I'm going to. I really did. Here's the thing, Richard, and I keep making the reference back to the Donner cut. It's hard for me to say I like the Zack Snyder cut just a little bit more. Like if I had to choose, Richard, I would say I like the Zack Snyder, but I'm not of that mentality where it's so much better. Oh, the theatrical version is garbage. No, I still like the theatrical version. I enjoy it. It was, for me, it was what it was. It was a great popcorn movie with,
Yeah. With bad editing. Oh.
Hey, I'll say this though. At least we didn't get any of the bad CGI mustache. Oh my god.
No face all wobbled up.
And Jude, everything they showed at Darkseid, man,
Oh yeah, that really paid off.
dude, paid off so much. And we got to give credit where credit due, man. Steppenwolf looked like a badass in this one as compared to the other.
Yeah, he did look a lot better, you know, and and then I love it when Superman's cut off his, you know, that looks so.
Dude, that was gangster. That was gangster. He didn't just like, you know, like, no, man. Yeah. Oh,
because you know that he wasn't really on the same level as Superman. I never think Steppenwolf was ever as powerful as Superman. Superman should have been able to handle him pretty easy, in my mind.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And he really did. He smacked the living bejesus out of them in the Snyder cut. Because one of my favorite scene is when Steppenwolf comes down with the axe, and Superman super speed's right there.
Yeah,
and it didn't even phase him.
Yeah,
and he just looked at him. He just looked at Steppenwolf and was like not impressed. I was like, "Ow, yeah."
Because that's what I didn't like about the Whedon cut. You know, they actually could battle each other, and I never thought Steppenwolf could hold the ground with Superman. I think Superman should have cleaned the house with him. You know, Steppenwolf is on the level as Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Aquaman should be able, as far as I was concerned. I don't know why they took so long battling them for Superman to get there. They should have just handled him easily, you know, in my mind. If he's anything like what's in the comic book, you know.
Yeah.
But
man, I honestly, Richard, we got more Darkseid than I was anticipating.
Oh,
I was anticipating, you know, like when they showed him Steppenwolf talking to Zod when they did the, like, not projection, but, you know, like the rock molded. That's what I was expecting, but man. And the other thing we got more clarity into that we didn't just completely dropped. He completely dropped the ball on it was Bruce's nightmare about the future. And Barry showing up. He completely dropped the ball on that. But at least in the Zack Snyder cut, we got it expanded a lot more.
Right.
You know, because what was it he said where about Lois being important? They thought it was just in terms of like him coming back. Like, no, because Barry even said, he goes, "I went back too far." And you know, and they expanded on that when they showed the nightmare, more of the nightmare future.
Right.
You know.
And the other thing they touched on more with Darkseid was the life equation.
Oh,
you know, and we didn't just totally drop that. He didn't even want to touch that.
And harkening back on that, Richard, I'm just going to bitch for a second. That's always bothered me, even in the comic books and in this movie, that the idea that if Lois dies, Superman goes nuts.
Oh yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry. To be blunt, I hate that. He's gonna be upset.
Yeah.
Yes. You're telling me that his complete mental stability
depends on Lois Lane.
Kiss my ass.
I mean, they're even touching that on the WB series with the alternative world. You know, if he didn't have Lois in his life, he would become, you know, like the Red Sun or something like that. You know, however they're going to handle that. You know. Well,
I'll give him this, Richard. We don't know that yet. We don't know what, because that could be like the Red Sun version of Superman. You know, that he, you know.
Yeah, that's what I figured, because if he doesn't have Lois in his life, he goes off and becomes like the little kid from the other Bright Light or Bright
Brightburn.
Brightburn, yeah.
No, I hate that, and it's not just them that have done it. It's been in like What Else stories, or not What Else, but like Elseworld stories in the
yeah.
Kid, no, man, come on. The dude, no, I've said my piece. I hate
He had Lori. What's her name? Lori.
Lamaris.
Laris. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
You didn't need Lana. You didn't need Lana.
Yeah.
Or you could go all the way back to. I mean, you could go back to Lana. Or you could have had the ones from the Legion of Superheroes pop in.
No. While I'm thinking about it, Richard, no. The best handling of that situation, Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah.
Where in Kingdom Come, and they touched on it a little bit in the Crisis, but and they handled that very well too.
Yeah.
Was in Kingdom Come, the Joker kills everybody.
Yeah.
In the Daily Planet, Jimmy, Perry. Did Superman go apeshit crazy? No, he got depressed and effed off to the Fortress of Solitude.
Right.
He didn't go kill everybody. Now, how they could have handled that situation better, Richard, especially, and they had a great opportunity for it, and we'll never know the payoff because we're never going to get a sequel. They mentioned the anti-life equation in the movie. Now, had that been more of a factor in Superman going bad,
right?
All for it. That
could have been, or it could be like in the comic book. What if Bruce Wayne found out how to use it?
Yeah.
And he could have went after Darkseid.
Yeah. But no, just the whole idea that his mental stability relies on no.
Yeah.
Kingdom Come did it best. He lost every single person he loved. He very humanly got depressed and chucked off to the Fortress of Solitude to go live his life,
Yeah.
And even in Crisis, he didn't fly off in total abandon society. In Crisis, he took over the Daily Planet.
True. Yeah.
He continued his life. But like I said, at least they expanded on it. Like you said, Whedon just abandoned that whole the nightmare thing.
Yeah, I think Whedon didn't know how to handle all that. I mean, he was brought in. He wanted to do his movie. He was doing the Avengers. He wanted to do it like the Avengers, and that's what we got.
Yeah.
Whedon has his own set of mentality, and that's what we got out of it. And like we said, Zack Snyder has his own way of interpreting superheroes, and that's what we got this time. It's almost like two different movies in a way.
And boy, speaking of the nightmare scene, though, man, that epilogue, shit, dude, that was pretty damn good. I will go on record. I still do not like Jared Leto as Joker. I just, God damn it, he bugged me. But it made sense that Deathstroke was there.
Yeah.
And we have to show that it's an apocalyptic future, so let's give him a mohawk. That's lazy. Come on, man.
And the way Batman described Harley Quinn in his arms and stuff, that was crazy.
That was crazy. That was I promised her that I would kill you slowly. I was like, damn. And the thing about it is, even him being there absolutely made no sense because, I mean, okay, Batman's brilliant, Flash is fast, Cyborg, Mira's, got powers. Deathstroke is quasi-metahuman.
Yeah.
Seriously?
I think they brought him along for distraction. They was going to use him as a,
Yeah.
And how does Lex Luthor fit in all this? I know in the second movie we're supposed to get the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, because they expanded on that even more in this version. Because in the Whedon version, it was Deathstroke just shows up to the boat and we see Lex, and then
Yeah.
that's it. But they expanded on it a lot more. That his plan. Oh, that was ghetto. That was so gangster of Lex. And I'm not the biggest fan of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, but that was so gangster when he looked Deathstroke. He goes, "Oh, by the way, his name is Bruce Wayne."
Oh yeah.
Dude, that was that was a Lex move. I'll give him that though. That was a Lex move, and I liked how Deathstroke was like, you know what? I will take some of that champagne. Yeah, I did. I did. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I see where, like you said earlier, Richard, like you could see where his original vision wasn't one 4-hour long movie.
Right.
We got what we it was 4 hours because we got what we could get.
Right.
There he didn't have the ability to finish shooting it as a 2-part or 3-part movie. They put together what they could to make it, at least a cohesive story.
Right. Sorry, I got distracted. The Harp Twins' fundraiser is almost done. They got over 900 people to back it now, so they get the free concert.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I backed it. I'm getting the CD, so I get to watch the free concert.
You mean these lovely ladies here?
Yep. They got their new album coming out, and they got instead of 12 tracks, it's going to be 15 tracks because they've got like 930 backers right at the moment. They're like way over what they've hit every single stretch goal, and I think they said they're going to add one more stretch goal where they're going to do a some other track that you'll be able to download if they reach 950. So they're only 20 people away from reaching the next stretch goal. Sorry, I just got the update from Kickstarter.
One other thing I wanted to talk about, Richard, but to put a lid on Justice League, my official, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I will probably, I don't know. I will say this though, Richard. I will watch it again. I don't know if I'm going to sit and like watch it like I did last night. Like I will probably put it on while I'm building Legos or something. But I'll put it this way, Richard. I mean, even though we get it on HBO Max, if tomorrow, Richard, they drop it on Blu-ray or 4K, I'm going to get it.
It's going to be. I think they said that's what, a month out or something like that.
Yeah,
it gets a month run or something.
Yeah, which is funny, Richard, because I will drop the money on a movie that I saw for free that's 4 hours long, but Wonder Woman, 19.
Oh,
I can't do it, Richard. I am a completist. I can't do it because I know I am never going to watch that movie again, Richard, unless I'm watching it with somebody that hasn't seen it yet. I won't watch that movie again.
At least we got another next one, big one coming up, the real big one, the two giants fighting each other.
Oh my God.
Have you seen the new trailer where it really does show them? Well, you've heard Mecha, right? Have you seen the pop? Yeah. So it's true. It's Mecha Godzilla is the antagonist that brings Kong in. Then Godzilla will have to come team up with Kong. But who cares?
You'll appreciate this, Richard. What was it? I think it was last weekend after we got done doing the show. I went back and I rewatched Kong Skull Island, and I watched Godzilla King of the Monsters just like as a refresher. I'm like, it's like, I can't wait for that one. But one other thing I wanted to talk about quickly, because I want to ask you about Gem City, but I just picked up today, Richard,
Yeah.
It came out this week. I got to talk. We're talking about Superman, and we haven't talked about comic books much. This came out this week. Superman Red Blue. Oh my! This is amazing. I love this book. I'm not even ashamed to admit it. This isn't like your classic Superman big villain. These are good ground level emotional stories. And there was a couple times in this book that I'm reading it and I'm like, nope.
Is it an independent of the series, or do you have to be following the series?
Independent. It's very stylized. It's how do I put this? It's more of an emotional book than it is a action book.
So I was just thinking for a new reader who really doesn't, who might have just watched Justice League and might be intrigued to pick up Superman. This might be good.
I will recommend. I honestly got right here, right now, Richard. I recommend this comic to anybody. This is a great. It's a collection of. It's like 4 different stories in here.
Okay.
And it's very stylized. When they say red and blue, I really like the way. I really genuinely liked the art in it. It's very red and blue.
So it's nothing to do with
very heavy.
Then. So it's nothing to do with the old Kryptonite series.
No. This is these are good. Superman as a good guy, a Superman. Okay. Oh no, I highly even Alex at the comic book store, who is not a big Superman fan like I am. Right. Even he said, he goes, "This is my pick of the week." He's been recommending this book at the comic book store to like everybody who's come in the door.
Cool.
I adore that book. Oh, Rich, I want to ask, how did everything go today?
Oh, it was fun. We're talking about Gem City Comic Con online 2021. Go to Gem City Comic Con's Facebook page. You'll be able to find the link there and rewatch today's episode. It's set up in 2 different parts. We had a bunch of comic book creators. Victor Danridge was on earlier. He was one of the first segments. And then we had the writer of The Tick. He was on during the second segment on the writer part. And then we had cosplayers, the orcs, who we've interviewed ourselves before, and they were on. And I think the one you interviewed was actually on part of that too, because they had segments where they were coming in and out, and it went so long that I had to jump over and go to the next feed because it was that panel ran over, so I had to start the next panel up without Amanda. So I had to jump over, and it was really funny. I did it sort of like half joking. I go, "Oh no, Amanda's still working with the cosplay people. Uh-oh. Wayne, I did the guard. And then I go, "Are you guys ready to start? Can we just get this panel started?" And then was in there. This was all YouTubers that like do like what we're doing tonight, reviewing, but they do more Marvel. I think they emphasize more on Marvel, but that's, because they were going to talk about all the upcoming Marvel stuff and everything. So I thought that was really cool. And I looked down and she goes like, nod her head, yes, they're ready. And then I saw all the comments, they were ready. So I just brought them all in and we just started talking, and we was talking about my set and everything with my Godzilla and stuff. And then also Amanda pops on, and then we got the whole panel started.
That's awesome.
But no, it worked out really good. And then Sean and Rodney popped in. They drew. Sean did Wonder Woman, and Rodney did Batman. And I'm not sure if they've sold. They probably sold by now, but they were selling them. They had a discount and stuff. So, and then we had a little delay at the end, and we just kind of round out the show. We actually ended just a little bit earlier than what we wanted to. But other than that, the show went really well. Good. And then tune back in tomorrow. We got a bunch of lined up. See, Alan Now I went blank. I don't have it pulled up, but he's on, I think, first. The Twilight Star Studio, they're going to be on at noon or at 12:15. Where we'll be talking probably about my book and then all the other books that they got coming out. And then rounds out the day with another content creator is going to be on for how to get into YouTube streaming and stuff like that. So I'll have to tell him we were streaming on Google Video before there was even YouTube. You know, he'll probably look at me like, what? But no, and it was a really good. And then tune in tomorrow starting at 10 o'clock, and then we wrap up around 5-ish again. So.
Right on.
And that's with Amanda from AGP. So her and me's co-hosting, and I think Amanda is watching. So hey, Amanda, how's it going?
Hi, Amanda.
You better get ready for your game. She's gaming tonight until whenever they get done gaming. Then she sleeps for a couple hours and then wakes up and does the show. So it's gonna be fun tomorrow.
You know what? Honestly, Richard, I'm not going to use it as an excuse, but if we can blame Justice League for me not being able to pop in today, because my plan was I was going to get up earlier than I normally do. You know, life gets in the way. You know, yesterday was payday, so got to get my groceries, got to get my gas, and got to get my comics. So I was like, I'm going to get up, I'm going to get all this stuff done. Dude, I stayed up so late last night watching Falcon Winter Soldier and then Justice League. Dude, it was well past noon before I even woke up, and I'm like, I gotta get out of that. I gotta get going. I gotta get moving.
And if you want to watch, I actually added today's programming to the UVN Plus video archive, just so if anybody wants to rewatch those, they are available on our website.
Oh, absolutely perfect segue there, Richard. And for those that are watching right now, where can they go ahead and catch everything that you were just describing?
You can go undergroundvideonetwork.com. That's where we have the UVN Plus video archive, which we've been spotlighting, and we will have continuation of Throwback Thursday and Flashback Fridays. I think we're going to dive even further back. We kind of did it just to get people ready for Gem City, but they were going over pretty good, so I think we're going to continue, Mike. You never know. You might see some more of those episodes at Alter Ego, but I'm going to try to put the one when Jared was with us the first time with Smallville.
Oh, my God. You have to. Oh, my God. I'll get a hold of him.
So you can find all our socials there, and our flashback is on Thursday. Friday is always on Facebook. So just go to our Facebook and you find the links to those, or you can just log in under UVN Plus Video Archive to find all 800 plus videos that we have in the archive.
Yep. So, Richard, it was an absolute pleasure. Love seeing you, even if it's just in soon, man. So on behalf of Richard Catajon and myself, Mike Bork, thanks everybody for watching and or listening. I got to remember to say that. We hope everybody is staying safe and healthy, and hopefully we'll see everybody here real soon at a con. So everyone take care, and Richard, if you would kindly press the button.